there we go. There's Dan. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. There's Dan. He's showing up just now. It's Codex Station's comic character of the week. I'm the host tonight, Sal the Slab Guy. Down below is Dan Kelly Art. Of course, right there is J Dub, our high evolutionary himself. Gary should be joining us. He must be having some IT problems. He's probably working on some packets or something. So he'll be joining us very soon. How you guys doing tonight? What's going on?
I'm good.
I'll be right back.
Okay. All right, then. Well, tonight, vegetables can be real.
Yeah, I seen it too.
Oh, Dan. Anyhow, folks, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be covering Sandman tonight. So this is the Wesley Dodds version of Sandman. So pray for a little JSA action tonight.
Just a little.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit. There we go.
Man. Grab the good old phone here for a second.
Yeah, no worries.
We're gonna set a golden night.
We are?
Yeah. At least one super chat in the chats.
All right. Let's hope so. There's Uncle Gary. Solved his IT problems. You got him?
Yeah.
The man with the plan.
There he is. There he is. How you doing, Gary?
All right, guys. How are you?
All right.
Fantastic.
All right. So what time the Commanders play Sunday?
1.
1.
Mm.
That's a tight turnaround from the Thursday game.
Well, that was a week ago, Thursday.
Yeah.
Oh, was it a week ago Thursday?
Mm-hmm.
They're not playing tonight.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Duh.
And they're still beat up pretty badly.
Yeah. I saw one of the running backs. He's out for the season.
Eckler's gone for the year. Wise is gone for the year. One of the best blocking tight ends is football is out right now. Daniels is day to day.
Ouch. A little banged up.
Yep. Pretty banged up. And Green Bay smoked them, but I guess I feel better about how, they beat them bad, and then Detroit got beat bad, and they rebounded. So maybe we will too.
Okay.
Mariota. We may be playing Mariota.
Okay. Caps are back on the ice. They're doing their mini camps.
Yep.
Ovechkin's already back and skating.
He's
Have you
40.
Have you seen the Ovechkin cereal?
Yep.
Yep.
I still own the original box of OVOs.
Yep.
They have a name. That's
OVOs.
amazing.
I even have a box of Cal Ripken's Wheaties box too.
I think I do
Yeah,
too.
I got 2 of those. I got the Orioles logo one and the one where it's just a black shirt.
I have the Oreo logo one. Yep.
I have a Wheaties box with Sammy Baugh on the cover.
Nice.
Mm.
Nice.
It's from the 75th anniversary.
I have his autograph.
So do I, twice.
Eh? Oh, good. Awesome. My dad got it. So I inherited it.
Oh, so he
passed
got
away, so.
he signed it to your dad.
No, it was a picture that my dad kind of drew up. It's just a picture of him, and he signed it.
Okay, because I have an 8x10 signed by him, and I have a card signed by him.
Nice.
Yeah.
My dad was the artiste in the family.
Nice.
No, my dad's got an 84 Bears football signed by the team.
The Bears.
84 or 85 Bears?
84.
Year before. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Still a lot of big names.
Yep.
Well, I've got a used condom signed by Carrot Top, so beat that.
And it's the same color as his hair.
I wouldn't be so proud of that fact.
You don't even want to know what I had to go through to get it.
I don't want to know.
We all know.
We all know. We don't want to hear it. I don't want to bleach my ears.
I'm just happy y'all were practicing safe sex.
Yeah. Well, there's always a silver lining.
There's always something. Huh?
Oh, yeah. What has the show turned into?
I
I don't know. You should ask Sonny. We turned his show into a smut fest last night.
don't know. Oh, God, did you?
Well, me and Mike and I always do that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sonny talked about having vegetable lover. He says, I've got it right here. I can reach down and pull it out. We're like, you can. Reach down and pull it out, Sonny.
Reach right down here. Yeah.
Mind if
All
I
right.
whip this out?
What do you say? Yeah. What do you say we get some business out of the way so we can kick this show off right on the schedule?
Something you need.
All right. So, as you know, folks, I'm your host tonight, Sal the Slab Guy. When I'm not here on the Codex Station, head on to YouTube. I'm there at Sal's Comic Corner. I'm also on Instagram as the Slab Guy 77. So be sure to check those two out. Down below is Dan the Kelly Art. Dan, why don't you tell them what you got going on?
Yep, and check me out on Instagram at Dan Kelly Art. I just posted something today. Oh yeah, the Damien way. Yeah, I noticed after I posted it that my that today was my 666th post, and it just happened to be a head sketch of a character named Damien.
There you go.
Who first appeared in 666 of Detective or Batman? Yeah.
He didn't first appear there, but his adult version.
Well, the adult
him as Batman appeared there.
Yeah, the adult his Batman appeared there. Yeah.
It's too bad we haven't really seen him much since then because that was a cool issue. Yeah. But yeah, so that's me. And then there's him, the guy with all the comics. If you complain, toys. If you complain that your comic shop doesn't have any books left for you to buy, it's because he's bought them all.
That's right. He walks in, just says, "I'll take everything."
I got 5 copies of that damn Marvel DC crossover yesterday, and we are sold out. So,
oh man, they had a ton of copies on the
the A cover
in our store.
Yeah, we're sold out.
The A cover. Yeah, they had a bunch of the variants too.
Yeah, they had about 5 of them. Yeah.
So if you want to come see where those books used to be, they were at Comic Logic. You know, we'll get. I'm sure we'll get second prints in for you. But if you're in Loudoun County, Virginia, we're in Loudoun County, Virginia, Northern Virginia area. You come see us, Comic Logic. We got a big event coming up next month on October 26th. It's a Sunday. We have our fall LotCon where we'll have artists, we'll have authors, we'll have vendors with comics, vendors with toys and action figures, and usually we have things as eclectic as tarot card readings and tattoos you can even get. So we got a wide mix of things to offer you if you come down LotCon, fall LotCon on Sunday, October 26th, and we'll have trunk or treat stuff for the kids. So there you go. And if they want to dress up, come on down. No trick or treat shaming. No trick or treat shaming there.
That's right. It's a fun time. Dan and I have been there with our families.
That's right, and everybody survived. So please come see them there. And if you make it to that, then we'll be happy to make your acquaintance. You'll see me, Mighty Mike Harbor, Rob Kalin. So it'll be a good time. Probably Schwartzlander. Chris will probably be there. So that's a party.
I don't even want to know what he'll be in costume as.
Yeah, that's a party. There'll be a party in a box right there.
Don't let him draw anything for you.
Yeah, do not.
Chris does not draw, but his creations. I'll show on this weekend. I'll show you the newest thing he made for me, which is awesome. So that being said, comic character of the day site is founded by our good buddy Archduke Kevy. It's run by Dan Kelly over there now. He ran the panel of the day. He does the question of the day. He does the character of the day. And then Talking Geek usually supplies a great cover of the day. So please check out that site. That's where we all became acquainted. So check out comic character of the day. And then let's kick it back up to the guy that built this station on rock and roll right there. He's the one that had the idea. He had the vision. He figured it where rock and roll began, baby. He figured it out that this country, this world, this planet needed comic information, this universe that could be brought to you by none other than the Codex station. He assembled a team that would go and they would dissemble and disseminate this information out across the airwaves, wall to wall, treetop tall, from sea to shining sea. The one, the only master builder himself, the high evolutionary J-Dub.
Thank you. And you guys know where to find us. CodexStation.com, one-stop shop for everything Codex. Get some merch, meet the team, let us know what you like and don't like. And you can find us on all of the
socials, all the things that we have. We're infected with them. Though these days it's easier to be infected because who cares about vaccines anymore? So just get infected, have what we have. All you have to do to get it is hit that little button.
Mm-hmm.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Just click that like button.
Yeah, and also today we do have a goal of super chat in the chat. If you guys reach 1, Sal will scream meatball on top of his lungs.
Meatball.
I think that's a great idea. I can do that. I can do that.
Yeah, it's actually in the celebration. I put in there, Sal will scream meatball.
A celebration or a salibration?
A celebration.
And if we get 5 of them, he'll gargle marinara sauce.
I'll like pour it over my head like a, do one of those things,
Well, what's different?
It's a dirty dancing thing. You just pull the chain.
Remember the scene
How is
in
that different? How is that different from any other Thursday night?
No, that's not a difference.
Remember the scene
It's on camera
where she kicked back and the water came down on her? It'll be like that with him, but with marinara.
I got that right up there. That's right, folks.
That's why the light turns red halfway through.
That's right. When it
That's
turns
marinara
red,
time.
look out. It's marinara time.
Jennifer Beals by way of Sal.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, before we get onto the show, we got to talk about Mon Comics. There is a GoFundMe raiser. If you can see that QR link right next to the lovely Jamie's head right there. Point it out, Jamie. It's right there. Point to it. Thank you. Folks, if you haven't heard Mon Comics, Brandon, he's a friend of the station. He lost his house in a house fire. Luckily, their family and everybody was safe, but they did lose everything. So there is a GoFundMe account out there for him. Please go ahead and donate. Any amount helps. If it's just a few dollars, it's a few dollars. It's okay. If you can't donate anything, send that link out to some other media stations or some other media outlets and see if we can get somebody else to donate. Because there's going to be a point where that insurance money kicks out and doesn't want to pay them anything. He's going to need that little bridge gap to keep him going. So please check him out and please help out when you can. He's a great guy. And I know know the comic community is all doing random videos that can be posted to his channel so that the algorithm does not lose his channel to the algorithm gods. So definitely go check that out, please. Next up, before we start, is the Comic Book Awards. We're nominated for 5 different awards. We'll get into them later into the show, but get over to comicbookawards.org. Check it out. Give us a vote. We appreciate that. All right, so we are good to start the show, ladies and gentlemen. Guys, are you guys ready to start the show?
Yeah, let's get into the gas mask wearing Avenger himself.
There it is. There he is. Mr. Green shirt, purple trench coat.
There you go.
I feel like my life's in danger. He's pointing right at me.
Where's he at? He's on here somewhere. There
we go.
There,
nice.
man.
Nice. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we will see you in 1 minute. Justice is the mission of the Sandman. I love it. I love it. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's the Codex Station.
How did you get that thing on so fast, Dan?
Holy crap. I didn't even see that. Dan's our Sandman for the night.
Is it
he can't see anything when he's wearing
it. No, I could see. I probably just wouldn't be able to talk. I mean, I'd be able to talk. You probably just wouldn't be able to understand me very well.
Sound like pain.
That takes role playing to a whole new standard, bro.
It does. It does. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's Comic Character of the Week. As you guessed it, we are covering Sandman, which is the Wesley Dodds version. Uncle Gary's got that little action figure right there. All right, so Dan, do you want to kick us off and give us the intro for this guy?
All right. Well, he first appeared in New York World's Fair Comics issue 1 from April 1939. Now, there's different places will list different first appearances, that or Adventure Comics 40, which the story for that was actually done first, but New York's World Fair Comics actually came out a few weeks before that. Yep. What's up, Mr. Keith?
Hey, Mr. Keith, how you doing, buddy?
Keith.
But yeah, that was all the way back in April 1939, created by Gardner Fox and artist Alan Burt Kreisman. Now, as you said, his real name is Wesley Dodds. Interestingly, for me, and I don't really care if it's for you or not, but I'm going to tell you anyways. In the first 4 appearances, his name was just Wesley Dodd. It was his 5th appearance, and after that they made it Dodds, where they added the S on there. So you're welcome for that little bit of trivia.
Thank you. I'm going to win at Jeopardy tomorrow night, I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, we already know a Jeopardy champion.
Yeah,
We do.
We do know
Yes, we
Jeopardy
do.
team.
Anyways, he was born to a wealthy investor businessman named Edward Dodds and his wife. But his mother died when he was young, while his father was off fighting World War One. In World War One, when his father came back from the war, his mother was dead. His father traveled around the Orient, bringing Wesley with him, where he learned origami, herbalism, martial arts. He wanted to be a writer, but after his father passed away, he had to take over his father's company, and he became himself a pretty successful businessman. He was also a Navy pilot in the early 30s, but in the late 30s, he started being plagued by dreams of murder and other crimes. What's up,
Liz?
Hey, Liz.
Hey, Liz.
Plagued by these dreams of murder and other crimes, and it was later explained that he got these powers from Morpheus, from Sandman, the Neil Gaiman book, from when he was imprisoned in the 30s, and some of his power kind of dissipated to different people in the world, and some of it touched Wesley Dodds, which gave him this, these dreams, these premonitions of murder and other crimes. So he decided that he would pursue the criminals that he saw in his dreams, and he developed the gas that he uses in his gas gun, put the ensemble there together and became the Sandman. Power-wise, he has the precognition, the limited precognition, and then he has to kind of figure out what it means. But other than that, he's a skilled hand-to-hand fighter. He's a good detective and an inventor and a chemist. He created the special sleeping gas that he uses, which knocks people out but can also compel them to tell the truth. And he didn't really create the gun. His friend, the Crimson Avenger, gave it to him, but then he modified it. And he, like most of the other members of the Justice Society, he had slow aging due to a battle they were in 1942 with a villain called Ian Carkle, who will probably not come up again at all the rest of this episode.
3 of my stories are based on him.
Oh, well, there you go.
Oh, maybe it will, Ben. Maybe it will. All right. Very cool. Thanks, Dan. Jumping to our next segment, what scenarios work best.
I do want to mention one thing about him.
Go for it.
The artist who really was instrumental in creating him, he was probably the most influential creator of all the creators involved, Bert Cressman. Dan, did you read about his demise?
No.
He died at age 26. He was a member.
I've heard of this. I just.
You will appreciate this, considering your dad's defining thing that he does in life with what he tours with. He was a member of the Flying Tigers.
Oh,
okay.
Volunteer American Force. Thank you, Liz. Volunteer force fighting in Burma, fighting the Japanese before America entered World War II. So he was a member of the Flying Tigers. He ejected from his plane, and the Japanese shot him down while he was parachuting down. And at age 26, he died defending the Burma Road. So I just thought it was important that we mention his sacrifice and his fighting even before America entered the war. 26 years old. And that is also a reason his penchant for aviation is also a reason why Wesley Dodds was a pilot. So it just wanted to give a little background on Bert Cressman.
Always good to know. Thanks, Gary, for that.
1938,
All right, very good.
I'm sorry. It was. Yeah, I think it was 38. I'll have to check on the date, but it was before we entered the war. Okay. I believe. Yeah.
Okay. So for our next segment is what scenarios work best for this character. And Gary, I was going to let you go first on this one. What works best for you?
What works best for this guy, even though he is a founding member of the JSA, which is pretty damn awesome and it's pretty cool. He works best when he is a solo figure taking on the people that prey on others from the shadows, and whether it's wealthy businessmen that are preying on the weak, or whether it's criminals that are whether it be a rapist or a mugger or a killer, serial killer. He is there to protect a lot of the people that no one is protecting, and he's a street level avenger, and he works best in the shadows and at night, and stepping in and out of people's dreams and realities where they merge together as one. And the Sandman is just he's another denizen of the dark. And that's how I love him, and that's where I think he is at his absolute best with this outfit or a variation thereof.
All right, very cool, awesome. Jamie, how about you?
Kind of like Gary said, I like him more as the noir detective, like with mysterious vibes going on. Wesley thrives when stories embrace the moody, atmospheric detective angle. Him being the fedora, wearing gas mask and trench coat. Good fedora.
You adore the fedora?
Uh-huh. It just...
Oh, look at that. There we go. Put that with Dan's gas mask and you're halfway there.
Yeah. You guys got a whole cosplay going.
Would be jealous. Not gonna wear it.
Oh, God. But you add in, the gas gun and the airy edge. He's basically DC's bridge between the Shadow and Batman to me. So placing him in this like gritty street level mystery where he gets to use his wits and gadgets just makes him shine more than other characters.
Okay, very good. I'll go next on this one. I gotta agree with what both of you guys have said. He came out. He predates Batman, correct?
No, he doesn't predate Batman because it was 1930. Well, it was a World's Fair comics, so that was in 39, and I'm off on my Fert Chessman. He died after we entered the war, but the Flying Tigers were organized before we entered the war,
right?
And he was part of the Flying Tigers, so I believe he died. He died in the very, very early 40s because this character, New York World's Fair comics, came out in 1939. So he
does predate that. Well, I'm looking at this. It lists Batman's first appearance as May 1939 and his as April 1939.
Okay, then he does. Then he's right
by much.
It's right there because the dates, the months and stuff back then are
jumbled.
You don't know the exact month, but right about the same time they both appeared.
Yeah, because Superman Action 1 has got June 1938 on there. It actually came out in April.
Okay.
Yeah, because for anyone that doesn't know, back then they would put later. They would have the book come out in 1 month, but they would put the month on there, the date for a few months later, so that it would be able to stay on the comic rack longer.
Yes,
right. The newspaper guys would be looking at the racks and not see it and go, "Oh, this is expired," and toss it out.
Right.
Yep.
Absolutely, Dan is 100% correct on that.
Yep. All right, so I think he works better as solo. He's not flashy. He's grit. He's got the nightmare premonitions, which like really drive his character to seek out these people. He plays up the detective skills, I think, a lot, which I like. And I think he's one of DC's one of the most first terrifying heroes next to Batman. He's just up there that he actually instilled fear, I think, in a lot of criminals. So that's why I was thinking if he predated Batman, did Batman's come from that, or did they stem Batman from that? But since they were so close together, they probably did not. So that was my working theory. But
he was based on the Shadow and a character called the Gray Seal, who was another noir character, and a little bit of the Green Hornet. So those were pulp characters,
right?
Strip characters, and so that's kind of where Chessman got it. He was a huge fan of the Gray Seal.
Right. Yeah, yep. I really believe he is a street level hero for sure. I don't see him on a cosmic threat type level, but street level working solo, that's his wheelhouse, and that's where I like him. How about you, Dan?
Yeah, pretty much the same thing, like you guys all said. When he's working as a detective in a crime noir setting. Now, when he first introduced, he was the same, outside of the suit, the same kind of archetype as all these other characters. He was big, strong, handsome, rich, ladies' man. I liked what they did with him more in Sandman Mystery Theater, where he was, a little not like out of shape, but he wasn't like a big strapped guy. He wore glasses. He was a little, he had the intelligence to him where he liked poetry and stuff, and he was a little bit kind of shy and mousy and unassuming.
Right.
And I like that about him, that it to me was a way to differentiate him, from all those other characters. And I mean the suit, and in Mystery Theater, they took away that, the mask that he has, like on the figure Gary has there, which is kind of a stylized gas mask, and they gave him an actual World War I gas mask, and they muted the colors of his costume.
Yeah.
Where they muted the colors of his costume, or wasn't this like purple and orange and green?
Wasn't flashing.
Looks like the Joker.
Made him much more, like he's kind of Batman-esque. He would operate at night. He would operate in the shadows. People for a long time didn't know, if he was real or not, or who he was. And, and I always thought that was cool. And, his girlfriend, Diane, she was just as much of his partner in the crime fighting too, which was cool because she wasn't this damsel in distress that would be there for other characters, or just the little lady sitting at home waiting. Like, she was going out there and and it was a part of all these investigations, and a legit partner for him, which
he also was underwater with the gas mask.
Nice.
So that's how I how I like him best. For what does he say? And he's got such an awesome catchphrase too. For none can escape the Sandman's dark dream.
Yeah.
Like, you see that guy coming at you, and and he's got the gas gun shooting the gas at you, and you see the gas mask and the fedora and the dark suit coming out of the shadows, and he says that in that like creepy muffled gas mask voice. That's some terrifying shit there.
Yeah. Dan just took one of my badass moments just by talking like that.
Yeah, he was Bane. He was Bane before Bane with his little voice.
That's so true. Well, speaking of badass moments, that's our next segment, ladies and gentlemen. Badass moments.
You were strong in the dark. I was born in it.
Speak of the devil, and he may appear.
Yes.
Speak of the devil, and he may appear.
Thank you, Bane, for that. Appreciate that.
If we get another super chat, Dan's going to do the Bane voice the rest of the episode.
There we go.
There you go.
Super chat. I scream meatball sub, so come on. Let's have a
meatball sub.
Let's have a meatball sub, ladies and gentlemen. Come on. Let's have a super chat. All right, so I'll kick us off for badass moments. Mine are kind of generic. So I went with All-Star Comics 3. He's a JSA founding member. You don't get much more badass than that. You're a founding member of the JSA. That's awesome. What can he's the normal guy with a gas gun. That just rocks right there. My next one was from JSA, the 1999 series. He's an elderly statesman at this point, and he's providing wisdom. But when he's still needed, he'll suit up and get into the action, and get his mask going, get his gun going, and even the younger, superpowered heroes were like showing him respect. So that's a pretty badass moment there. Yep, Liz, meatballs. Do the super chat, Liz. I'll scream it. Come on.
I just want his family to be like, why were you screaming meatball the entire time you were down there? That was my thought process.
Well, why not? Why not? And so for my third badass moment, this is kind of like another high level one, but I think it's very important. When he had to pass the torch to Sandy Hawkins, he realizes he's going to entrust his legacy to somebody else. He turns it over to her. He gives her mentorship, It's not just about personal crusading. It was more about the fight for justice, and to realize that and turn it over to her, to let her take the reins over. That's badass for me.
Him.
That's
him.
him. Oh, I'm sorry, him. Yeah, him. Sorry, I hear Sandy and I think her. Sorry.
Yeah.
So for him. Yep. So that's what I like. That's a pretty badass, motif for me. So Dan, how about you? What do you got for badass moments?
Well, yeah, I also had All-Star Comics 3. I mean, that's just it's just badass that he was one of the founding members of the first ever superhero team.
Yeah.
And you think about all the characters on that, like he doesn't have powers. He made a gas gun, and so many of these the original JSAers and some of the ones that came after it, like Johnny Thunder didn't have powers. He just had the pen. Wildcat didn't really have powers. He was just a good fighter. Green Lantern had the ring that he put on. Hourman had the pill that he made. Starman had the cosmic rod that he made. So many of them didn't have inherent powers that would Al Pratt, yeah, until he eventually got superpowers, but at first he was just a short little angry guy that loved to punch people.
You need to see the early issues. Have I showed you the panels where it's nothing but ass cheeks? He's wearing his little wrestling outfit, and when they show him from behind, it's ass cheeks. It is in his ass, his little singlet. And I'm like, oh my God, no wonder he's got an attitude. He's fighting crime with his cheeks out.
That would make me grumpy
all the time. Cheeks out for Sandman.
I mean, you think I'm joking? Sandman. You think I'm joking? It's like the
What's up, Chris?
There it is. Like this Sandman book, the Archives edition. They have an Archive edition that has Wildcat and Adam and those early Adam stories from Sensation. Ass is hanging out every time you see him from behind.
You're talking about male ass cheeks hanging out, and Chris just jumped into the chat, so I'm kind of concerned.
Coincidence?
Well, I texted him ass cheeks, and he showed up.
It's like his bat signal.
So,
right. Chris, your new name is ass cheeks.
So my second one comes from Starman. It was either issue 20 or 21. I forget which one.
Yes, it was.
But when the Starman's son, is now the current Starman and happens to be in town and goes to visit Dodds, and then is on this case, and Dodds decides to help him, and he gets captured. Or actually, I think it was 22.
It was the end of 22, the beginning of 23.
Yeah, where he actually suits up again, and at this point, he's an old man, like in every sense of the word, a little old man that's, has problems getting around, but he's like, hey, the kid needs help. I'm gonna suit up, and I'm gonna do what I can. So. Yeah. That was pretty badass. And then the last one I have is JSA Secret Files and Origins issue 1. So this is don't 3D print that.
Yeah, do not.
So in this one, it was when they were launching the JSA series again, and there's going to be a new Dr. Fate, and Dodds has, as he has these prophetic dreams, and he's very old at this point. Diane, they never actually got married, but Diane has died, a few years before, and he's kind of ready to meet her. But he's had this prophetic dream about who the next Dr. Fate is going to be, or like the next one that's going to be born. And as you can imagine, this would be a pretty valuable bit of information. So he is on this mountain in Tibet, and he knows what's coming. And he sends Speed Saunders off, and he says, "Look, you got to go to the JSA that's left. You got to tell them what's happening. Get your granddaughter ready, who is, I know Gary knows. Do you guys know who Speed Saunders, who his granddaughter is?" I'm going to take it by your silence that you don't. It's Hawk Girl, the Kendra Saunders. Anyway, so he sends him off, and then Mordru shows up and is telling him, like, you need to tell me who the next Fate's going to be, because he wants to go and kill him. So Dodds, knowing that he can't give him this information, blasts him with his gas just to distract him, and throws himself off of the mountain so that he can A, go be with Diane again, but B, so that he doesn't, Mordru won't be able to pry this information out of him. And then a lot of the rest of the issue, so that's just the first 8 pages, but then the rest of the story in that issue is like all of the JSAers dealing with the what happened, and then going and telling everybody else, like, hey, this is what happened. And that kind of was the catalyst for the new JSA coming together. And then one of the last things he said, or he told Speed, was to tell Sandy, that the visions are his now, and he was sorry. They've never really explained how it was that that got passed on to Sandy, but that would be an interesting story.
Yep, very cool. All right, Uncle Gary, you're up next.
All right, so first, just a little bit of business to clean up about Burt Chessman, since we are talking about badass moments, right?
Yes.
Let's talk about Burt Chessman again. So the main creator of Sandman.
Right.
So he gave up his career as an artist and joined the U.S. Navy in June 1938 as a pilot cadet. So while he's a pilot cadet, he is creating this character. He was serving on the aircraft carrier Ranger in 1941 when he was recruited to join the American Volunteer Group, the AVG, to fight the invading Japanese in the skies over China and Burma. So he was recruited early to go to them. And again, the Flying Tigers are famous for fighting before we entered World War II. And during his time with the Tigers, Burt used his artistic talents to personalize the noses of the P-40s. And he was part of the Panda Bear Squadron, and he had cartoons of caricatures on the nose cones. In 1942, and it was in January 23rd, 1942, his plane was shot down and he was killed while parachuting by the Japanese Army Air Force while flying in defense of the Burma Road. He was buried with the full military honors due to being a colonel in the Chinese Air Force. So, yeah, and his cemetery's in Grandview, Fort Collins, Colorado. So anyway, there's your badass moment right there.
Yeah.
God damn it.
We'll accept that.
So remember the Flying Tigers, and I know Chris can appreciate that. 26 years old. But that's Burt Chessman's badass moment. So he created this character while he was recruited, while he was a cadet. So my badass moments, Chris, you'll be happy to know this too. Sal and Dan already have what I had in here. That's a very simple badass moment. Founding member of the Justice Society of America. First ever super team. So I thought I was going to be really simplistic with that. And it's kind of cool that these other two jabronis jumped on that too and said, what, that's pretty cool. Yep, there you go. That they thought that was pretty cool too. And I think that is a bad moment. Okay. I'm also, yes, true hero, he was. I'm also going to elaborate on what Dan was talking about at the end of Sandman or Starman. This is the great James Robinson, Tony Harris, Wade Grombrigger. All three of those guys. All three of those guys are going to be in Baltimore, by the way. I've never met Robinson, so I can't wait to get him to sign this book, which is got.
And they're launching a new Starman book.
Yeah, well, at least a one shot. So I've got Harris and Grombrigger in here, so I can't wait to get Robinson. But anyway, this was a great series. But at the end of 22, it's just the words are so great. So here he is. He's an old man, and Dan mentioned he was an old man. He's such an old man in this. He's using a cane. He's got a cane. He's using a cane. So he says, a friend needs me. And his father was there when I needed him, because talking about Jack's father, Ted Knight, the original Starman. So he said, life should be measured by quality. And this is when he's, realizes he's got to go in and save Jack from armed assailants. He goes, life should be measured by quality. And so if this must be the last thing I do, I die content. Look, he's got his cane. He's got his cane down there. That's freaking badass.
If he doesn't gash you, he's gonna knock you with the cane.
Well, goes in there against armed men, using a cane with his cast gun and all that, but he dies content. He knows this could be it. He knows things aren't going to look good for him here, but life is measured, by quality, and I'll die content. So that's pretty badass. Now the third one comes from Mr. Chris. Sandman Mystery Theater. It'll probably get some recommendations tonight. Yeah, yes, you do. But it's sugarcane.
And you have
and
gas.
It's cocaine. No, it's not cocaine. Sandman Mystery Theater will probably get some recommended readings as well. It should.
Right.
I have not read Sandman Mystery Theater for a very simple reason. I cannot stand Guy Davis's art. It kills me. It kills me. It makes my eyes bleed to look at it. But everyone that has read this, Chris included, Rob, who doesn't even like this genre, loves the writing on this. And maybe one day I'll get over it, but I can't now. So
I'll tell you what, Gary, as soon as I become independently wealthy, where I don't have to worry about a job,
you're going to redraw it?
I will personally redraw the entire series for you so that you can read it.
Okay. And now, what did you think of the art? Do you struggle with his art?
I struggle with the art on just about all of the the Golden Age stuff is the Golden Age stuff, and you have to look at that with a different lens than you look at.
But this wasn't Golden Age stuff. This was just taking place.
Golden Age. Yeah, I'm not a fan of the art on that. I also wasn't a fan of the art on the most recent series, but the
Riley Rossimo
story and the writing is so good.
I know. So this
I don't like Guy Davis's art on it either.
No, I just can't freaking stand it. And on this Sandman series we're referencing, they did a flashback and they used Guy Davis as the art there, and I got through it for those 10 pages, but man, it was rough. But
remember at the time that when that came out, the height of Vertigo, that was Vertigo. Vertigo didn't have like traditional art styles.
No,
it had all the very stylized stuff and very different kind of stuff. So it fit in very well with Vertigo at the time. But
it's true. Some of the Sandman arcs, according to whatever artist it is, are not the greatest either.
Yeah.
The Neil Gaiman Sandman. But we digress. Well, anyway, this comes from Chris, and this is Sandman Mystery Theater Annual 1. So Wesley Dodds is catching a serial mugger in Central Park that has been mugging people. And when he catches this guy, he uses his gas. And when he puts this gas on people, there's a moment there where he can kind of interact with their thoughts, their innermost thoughts and dreams and things like that, and intermingle with this guy. And when he does this, he realizes this guy has got 5 kids that he's trying to feed. And he's trying to feed these kids. And the only reason, 5, that's a lot of meatball subs, right, Sal?
That's a lot of meatball subs.
That's a lot of meatball subs, baby. So he's got 5 kids to feed. And this is the only reason that he's doing this. And when Wesley Dodds realizes this, he decides that this is not a bad guy, that he is not going to incarcerate him. He's not going to turn him over. And what he does is he puts post-hypnotic suggestions in his mind that he's going to check in a certain location. And if he lives his life right, he has nothing basically to fear from the Sandman. And Wesley Dodds has left him a cache of cash. So he has left him money to get his life straightened out, take care of his family, and to quit doing, what he was doing. So he realizes this guy has a good heart. So Chris, and I think Chris is right. That's a badass moment. You're on this mission. You're going to stop crime, but you realize that this guy has extenuating circumstances that is pushing him to do this because he needs to feed his family. And that's why he's doing this. And for the Sandman to be able to have that connection with him, through his dream state while he's just going unconscious, that he decides that he will endeavor to make this guy's life, better and to deter him from this life of crime. And the only reason he's there is because here's another man during this rough time that can't feed his family. So I too think that's pretty badass. So Chris,
I agree.
Chris, I hope I got the meaning of that and conveyed that for you in the way you want it. So hopefully that is. If there's anything else, yes, you wrote him a Sandman letter.
Yes,
and he would like fold little bits of origami too, and leave
That's
them
right.
around when he would, like, take these villains out.
And that's what he did with this guy too. I think.
Yeah, and have like a little poem inside that he wrote.
So again, one day, hopefully, I can read it. I just can't. It's like Jeff Lemire. When Jeff Lemire draws, I just can't. And he's one of the greatest writers around.
Mm-hmm.
I just can't. So
no, I get it, and it's tough to get through the art, especially like when you're like for Dodds. I could fine. He draws him a little dumpy almost. The glass is mousy, like it works for that. But when he's drawing Diane and people are talking about how attractive she is, and it's like you couldn't draw her less attractive if you tried.
She's what they called in that day a handsome woman.
Oh,
but
okay.
but yeah, his art style is just not good.
Listen. You know what? I've got it right here because they have that segment in there. And we can show, and it's just, oh my God, it's rough, baby.
You want me to let Jamie do his badass moments?
Yeah, let Jamie do his badass moments.
Oh,
I'll
make this really quick. I like going last because of the fact that everyone takes my stuff.
I like taking your stuff.
Yeah, right.
Take your stuff.
So Dan had
will take your stuff.
Yeah, I stay in the chat. Had my basic, from Sandman Mystery 1, where he just shows up in the trench coat, gas mask, and how terrifying he was. Founding member of the JSA. I had to, so that's all across the board for us.
There you go. That is that may be I guess we've had other badass moments,
right?
Clean sweep, but that's so simple. I don't think we've had one that's just that straightforward simple.
Yeah.
Shit, Chris.
But you know what? He's not even the worst one, because there was a one shot that was Sandman and then the Neil Gaiman Sandman, and it had this painted art. And you think Guy Davis's art was bad? This stuff was horrendous, and that was a slog to get through. But I was like, it's a one shot. I gotta read it. But man, that was painful art to get through.
I bet. All right, Jamie, is that it?
Oh, and then the last one was my deep cut, and that was actually the one Chris had.
Oh, well, okay then.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that one I didn't know about, and I had to go back and read it, and I was like, I'm gonna use this, and then when you brought it up, I was like, God, I can't talk about anything.
You know what? We threw Chris a bone, so that's okay. Chris is
used to getting bones.
He's used to getting boned.
Yeah, he's getting boned all the time.
Him and
all right. So let's go ahead and jump to our next segment then, which is top covers. And Jamie, since you didn't get to talk about your badass moments, I'll let you go first and talk about your top covers. Ready?
Mm-hmm. Oh, those are nice.
I'm going to move the Mons thing off right now. We'll put that back up so we can see these covers.
I own these first two. The last one, I do not.
You don't know the one on the right? You know what? It'll probably be a facsimile at some point.
I hope so, because I'm a facsimile.
That was Sandman
at this point.
Midnight Theater.
Yeah.
But yeah, Sandman, number 1. This is the Vendetti story, which I did actually like. I have them, so it's great. But just him walking through, explosions all around. It has that Batman and Rorschach like love child kind of.
Yeah,
I agree. That's a great analogy. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Then I have issue, I think it's 3. Yeah. In the middle, and it's just like the gas coming off the gun. The gun actually looks like itself too. It's just
all gas.
Yeah, the whole thing is gas, but besides that is just that prominent figure standing out. Yeah,
over the city. Yeah.
And then lastly, obviously, Adventure Comics 40. So
Craig Flessel on that.
Oh yes.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, those are some great ones. All of those were on my short list.
So Craig Flessel on the one on the right, he ended up taking over the interiors on the Sandman strip after Burt Chessman went active duty.
Okay. Very cool. All right, Gary, let's put yours up here.
All right.
Your covers.
And all right. So the one on the far right, the newer one is that's Wesley Dodds' Sandman #6, cover C by Sebastian Flumara. So I love that, and I love the gas in the shape of a in the shape of a skull. That it's you got the little skull shapes in there like evil clouds.
Yeah.
Which is the first cover. Well, New York World's Fair cover had a circular inset of his face, but this is the first, I guess, solo cover of his, and it came out a couple weeks later. And here you got a July 1939, and on Detective 27 was a May 1939 cover date. So that's where it gets really confusing about what hit the newsstands first. But Detective had a May 1939, just like Action 1 had a June 38 on there. So we got July 39. Yep, he's the only character I know wearing the spats, Pam.
I know.
The character wearing the spats. And then Detective 46 is also Craig Flassell, and that just a great Golden Age cover. I love it. And I don't have it on. I mean, I didn't show the cover of it because it's not a school cover. I actually own Adventure Comics 47, which is the issue after that, and that's the issue where he meets Diane Belmont. So that's kind of cool for me. Yeah. So
you also look at those. Those issues are only a couple months apart, and you look at the wild inconsistencies with the coloring of his costume.
Yes. Yeah. Well, he could wear different suits, right? So he just got to put on a different gas mask and a different hat. Yeah. There you go. I love it, Chris. So, but
all right. Cool
look at those great covers, though, where Adventure Comics is a third of the book. I love the giant logos on those.
Giant logo titles.
Yes.
Yeah.
Love it.
All right, Dan, got yours ready? You set?
Yeah.
There you go.
All right, so I had to get one from Sandman Mystery Theater. Now that book, other than just the interior art, like the covers that were on the series had some pretty wild covers, but they did have a few where they would have someone like basically in like a Sandman costume that they would do photos of, and that was one of them. And I just love how they have the full costume and picture of them. Though this is not the one from the actual issue. This is from collected volume. So I forget, it was from issue originally from issue 10, but I guess they used that one for the collected volume as well.
It's awesome though. I love it.
Yeah. And so then the middle one is the most recent series. Yeah, the Wesley Dodds Sandman. This is the A cover from issue 1. I just love how this looked. As I said, I wasn't a fan of the art on this series, but this series too also had some amazing covers, and even that A cover just where he centered in the cover, and the trench coat's kind of coming out like a cape, and he's got the gas coming off the gas gun, and the colors on it all look really good. It was something that definitely jumped out to me on the rack when it came out. And then the one on the far right is a variant cover from issue 2, and you can see he's not the main focus of the cover, but I just love how it has him there in this cloud of smoke, and then it's got the classic church stained glass window behind him, and the smoke rising from that, and the sun coming in through that, and the way that he's framed with the stained glass window is just such an awesome, striking drawing.
Yeah, that is pretty bad.
So good.
It. It's badass. All right.
Yeah, that was. It's funny you said that, Chris. When I was talking to Sal when we went to the shop a couple days ago, I actually was telling him, like, oh yeah, and one of the storylines in that was where he meets Rex before he becomes officially Our Man, and he kind of pushes him to like, hey, you can't just be running around out here just like you need to put on a mask and have an identity and stuff, which leads Rex into putting together the costume and becoming our man.
Yep, very true. All right, so here are my top covers.
Hey, what's up, Sonny?
Hey, Sonny. All right, so I did also choose that 1B cover that was by Rivas. That's just an awesome cover with the explosions in the background. Yeah, that's just pretty badass for me. I love that. Everything that Jamie said about that. We're going to go with that. My other middle one is actually also a alternate for number 1. It's the 1C version. But again, kind of like with Dan's with the gas all around, and Jamie's other cover with the gas all around him. That's just looked pretty wicked to me. And then, of course, Dan suggested this one for me. It didn't make his cut, so it has Green Lantern on it. I gotta put this one in. So I love this cover though. This is the great colors by Brian Boland, I believe, and you can see him just behind the battery with the shading of the green on him. That just looks pretty badass.
I'm surprised Jamie didn't get that one.
Yeah, no, it was up there.
Yeah. So those are my 3 covers there.
For a character that had limited series and all, there were quite a few choices of
Thanks, Chris.
Quite a few choices of covers to use for him.
Yeah, there were.
There was a great Alex Ross Sand cover of Sandy that was pretty awesome, but it wasn't Wesley Dodds.
Right. All right.
And that the last miniseries of him, like I said, I wasn't a fan of the interior art, but
Riley Rossimo.
So many good between the A covers and the variant covers. There were so many amazing covers. I'm surprised Sal didn't use the slab cover.
Yeah, I do. I thought that was going to be used by him.
Yeah.
And actually, that's a Rossimo, which isn't bad, but the interior, not so good. Yeah.
I should have looked again.
I thought for sure that Sal was going to use that one.
Because I had intended as soon as we started doing the prep for this episode, and I was looking through my Sandman books. I saw that one. I was like, oh, Sal, here's another slab cover you can get for your Slabatorium there.
Right.
Sal, you ready for the Guy Davis art?
Yeah, let's hit it.
Well, he's read some of it, so he knows.
Yeah.
So there's Diane Belmont, who looks like a very handsome woman.
Oh God!
What did Chris say? A booger with hair? Yeah.
She looks like a voice sounds like this.
Yeah.
You know what she looks like? Remember when Mike Myers would play that character on SNL where he would dress up and like talk, like pineapples are neither
Barbara Richmond
apple, or neither a pine nor an apple. Talk amongst yourselves.
Barbara Richmond.
Barbara Richmond. Yeah, that's who she looks like.
Yeah. Okay. And loved Streisand, and Streisand came on the show one night and he didn't know it and it blew his mind.
All right, we did skip critiques, so let's going to circle back to that. Let's find out what we don't like about this character. And Jamie, you can go first on this one.
I call you out on the critiques. You make me go first. How dare you?
Right.
No, but I have it where, to me, like he is a Batman-esque kind of character in a way. Yeah. But when he's like overshadowed by him, I feel like Batman does the rich detective in the shadows things, where Wesley's kind of like the second tier version when he's written incorrectly. If the story is set like straightforward, he's just, a better version to me. But when it's written poorly, it's like he's the poor man's Dark Knight. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't have the money for like the way Bruce does. He doesn't. They try to make him out to be more of like a Bruce character than he is himself. So that's like my biggest critique, because there's a lot of similarities, but the writers kind of pen that way.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. All right, Gary, you can go next.
It's real simple. Purple and gold.
I was going to say. It reminds me of that joke where they ask Batman, why you wear such dark colors? He goes, so I don't get shot. And he goes, why is Robin wearing bright colors? He goes, so I don't get shot.
Well, they addressed that in Dark Knight Returns, which I, back in the day, which I thought was good, when he had the extra padding over the Bat logo, and he said, why do you think I wear this bright yellow
Target.
Target on my chest. That's where I put all the extra padding.
Yeah.
The purple and gold costume was horrible, and you'll see there was they had Sandman Adventure Comics. Sandman was the first hero feature that got covers. Then Hourman debuted there and got covers, and then Starman got covers. I have an Hourman, a Starman, and a Sandman cover.
Mm-hmm.
Those Golden Age are really great. So after Starman, they go back to Sandman, and it's that gold and purple costume, and it's with Sandy, the Golden Boys, who's a sidekick now. And a lot of those covers were Jack Kirby, and they just weren't good. They weren't good. And a lot of it is the costume is stupid. When you see that costume next to how cool this costume was, there's no gas mask. He's just a hero wearing a spandex and a spandex purple and gold onesie, and him and Sandy, and it was just awful. And Sandman is not a hero that needs to run around with a sidekick anyway. He's in and out of the shadows, but they do address in my recommended reading, they do address the demise of that costume. They gave a reason for it to have gone away and for him to go back to the old suit that he pulled out of mothballs. But yeah, that anything in that costume is no bueno.
No bueno. I agree. All right, Dan, how about you?
I mean, you guys already nailed it. And and the suit itself, it's not a terrible suit. It's just not a good suit for him. If it was some other, kind of just generic, because it's a pretty generic costume.
Very much.
Some other, Golden Age character where they're like, oh, here's this guy and he's got super strength and invulnerability and this is his suit. And you're like, oh, okay, whatever. It's, it's not that bad. But they had such an awesome, unique look with him. And then they gave him this just generic superhero look. It doesn't work. And like you said, there's actually been a couple different, reasons they've given in the comics for why he, well, there's pretty much just the one reason I've seen why they gave for him to take on that costume. It's because Sandy became his sidekick and he was like, oh, you got to wear this costume so that you're not scaring people. Or so people will trust you. And that's why he started wearing it. And then there's been a couple different, I've seen reasons for why he, went back to his original suit, but
reasons.
And I mean, I get why they put him in the spandex costume at the time, but I understand why they did it, but it was something they shouldn't have. And you talk about bad. Even worse than that was the other Sandman series that Kirby did when it was a different guy that became Sandman. It was that yellow and red costume. That was even worse.
Yeah.
And he was more of a Sandman that went in and out of your dreams.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Kind of like what Sleepwalker did for Marvel.
Yeah. But that was my, my pretty much my main critique is them doing that. And also as we've kind of discussed, he's had, his own series, more so than any of these other JSA Golden Age characters. Like he's had his own solo series outside of the Golden Age more than them, but he's just had terrible artists on him. Sandman Mystery Theater, Sandman Midnight Theater, the Wesley Dodds Sandman, just awful art.
Mm-hmm. All right, so for my critiques, you guys pretty much hit it on the head with me as well. The costume, I don't know. I'll just chalk it up and say Golden Age.
And Dan's right about one thing too. It's with such a cool look to the character, you would think there would be artists that would want to really be able to do something really profound with that look,
right?
And with the shadows and all that noir of it all.
I agree. Yeah. I agree. So I think when they pull him out of the 1930s and 40s and put him in a crossover with modern day age type of superheroes, I don't know. Sometimes it didn't mesh well with me because he feels dated, or overshadowed, yeah. So, and he's not built like Batman, so he he could be easily overpowered. I feel like you can get his gas gun away from him or something. Maybe he could be overpowered by certain, number of people, but I don't know. Those are small, minor critiques there that I have for that. All right. So since we're now jumping to our next segment, before we do, we got to talk about the comic book awards. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, the Codex Station is
Chris
nominated.
was right on that too.
The original trailer. Yeah, that's true. We're nominated for 5 separate awards, and I can bring them up here on the screen for you. Best live stream. There we go. Look at that. Comics Unleashed. That's our Saturday night show. Gotta vote for us. So next one up here is best informative content. This is for major channels now. People that have 1,000 and 2,000 subscribers. And once again, Codex Station right there.
Oh, that Steranko would be good on that.
Oh, yeah. Steranko would be good at that. Yeah. All right. Our next award nomination is Best Live Stream for live stream content. And that's the Comics Unleashed show. That's our Saturday night show again for channels that have 1,000 to 2,000 subscribers. And then we have Best Entertaining Content. I guess this is for hauls, unboxing, reviews, reaction videos, games, and skits. This is also for major channels, again, 1,000 to 2,000 subscribers. But man, you see all these people that were nominated up against. These are all great YouTubers. They all are worthy of a like and, subscribe to their channels.
Yes,
but the
they're
last
not
one
as great
here,
as us.
Yes. The last one is Most Engaging Host. This is the host that excels at interviews, hosting auctions, and or guest engagement. Again, for major channels, 1,000 to 2,000 subscribers. And there I am, Sal the Slab Guy for the Codex.
Vote for Sal.
Vote for Sal, and I promise to put a meatball in every meatball sub in every home.
Sal's your pal.
Sal's your pal. That's
you hear
right.
that? He's going to put his meatball sub in your home.
That's right. Everybody gets a meatball sub in their home. If I have to make it myself.
Meatballs deep.
That's right. Okay, so just head over to the comicbookawards.org. There's the link for you guys right there, and go through and look for us and give us a vote. We appreciate that immensely.
Chris, are you wearing your Justice Society shirt? I ordered this shirt. Showed
Thanks,
Chris the link, and he ordered one and said we're going to wear it at the same time. He goes, I say I'm not being your damn twinsy.
Oh,
so
we know it's gonna happen. He's gonna have
happen.
that shirt in the back of his car, and then when you're wearing it, he's gonna walk out.
I will never wear it anytime he is anywhere in the vicinity, and I already.
See, what he's going to wait is when you guys go to a comic show together, and he's going to have like a shirt on over top of it, and wait till you're actually in the show, and then like take his other shirt off and be like, "Look, we're twinsies."
Did you understand that I just said I will never wear it anywhere he will be in the vicinity? I know that, and then he said he'll recruit my lovely redheaded wife in this, and she will not have any part of this because she has wanted us to dress twinsies and go places, and I have always said no the shirt and only the shirt, and so she's not having it. She said if he wouldn't do that for me, damn if I'm going to help somebody else do that with him. And Mike, I think, bought this shirt too, so there's hell no, I ain't doing no triplet crap. Not gonna have
three amigos. One gets to be Steve Martin, one gets to be Martin Short, and one gets to be Chevy Chase.
There you go.
Well, not happening.
Ladies and gentlemen, Comics Unleashed triplets. We're going to have it right there. We're going to be seeing it. We're going to be seeing it on Comics Unleashed.
It's not happening. So anyway.
Oh, it's happening, baby.
They're going to walk in the screen like Devontae Adams with Aaron Rodgers.
Oh my God, that was so lame when they did that. Like they expected the whole football world to be like, "Oh my God, look at this," and then they continued to suck the rest of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Well, remember what Curly said. If at first you don't succeed, keep on sucking until you do succeed.
That's right. That is right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we can go ahead and jump to now our next segment, which is going to be essential readings for the character. And Dan, I got yours queued up. I have short. All right, Dan, you ready for your stories?
Yeah.
All right, there you go. Oops, that's your covers. What am I doing?
His stories.
What am I doing? There you are.
You dumb wop.
Yeah.
No.
Wow.
Oh.
That was so wrong.
Shots,
sir.
fired.
That is, you are not getting a meatball sub at all.
That was hate speech.
All right,
he gets canceled for that one.
Yeah.
I mean, I would get canceled for a lot more stuff. Sal knows it comes from a place of love. Anyways, Sandman Mystery Theater. You know what? I just put the whole series on here. It ran 70 issues and one annual. And, really, there was also the Sandman Midnight Theater one shot. There was like a mini series, like 5 or 6 issues, that was a few years after this. But really, just the main run. Like I said, it is 70 issues, but it was hard to pick one because the majority of the series was all mostly 4-issue story arcs, and it took place before he helped form the JSA. So you see him in it. You see him meet Diane. You see him, starting to operate as the Sandman. Her helping him is very, very much a crime noir book. Like we were talking about, the artwork in it is really bad. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's really bad artwork. But the story is just absolutely fantastic. And he does occasionally run into other characters. There's one story arc that Chris mentioned earlier where Rex Tyler's in there on his way to becoming Our Man. Wesley Dodds is friends with Crimson Avenger, who I think Crimson Avenger, even in his first appearance in New York World's Fair Comics 1, helped him with that. It was either issue 1 or issue 2 that he helped him with. So, he shows up in it. Black Hawk shows up in it. So it's really cool. And just like I said, get past the artwork. The story is absolutely fantastic. The next one is Sand and Stars. That's Starman 20 to 23. That's the one that, like Gary said, that James Robinson wrote. And this is the storyline when the current Sandman, who is the son of the originals, or the current Starman is the son of the original Starman, is working on a case and goes to the city that Wesley Dodds and Diane live in, and goes to him to talk about, get his ideas and help with this case. And then he ends up, Dodds ends up suiting up again at the end of it, to help him out. But just an absolutely fantastic story. And you see Dodds as an older man, but still being able to help out. And you get flashbacks to him, as a younger guy when he was originally doing this. And then the last one is Wesley Dodds, the Sandman 1 through 6. This came out, was it 2023 or 2024? I can't remember when, but very recently. And
I'd say 24, I think.
Yeah, and kind of the same deal, Sandman Mystery Theater. The story is absolutely fantastic, and the artwork is just horrible, because the story is a really good, dark, kind of, noir story, and the artwork is just really cartoony and doesn't fit the tone of it at all. But the story is so good that it's worth putting up here. And there's was created a newer character that is kind of similar to Sandman, where he steals, this notebook that Wesley had, where he had all of his formulas that he created when he was trying to come up with his knockout gas, and some of them were more on the deadly side, and he blames himself for keeping this book and not getting rid of it. And this guy figures out that Wesley's the Sandman, breaks in, steals this, and then the series is him trying to get it, get this back and take this guy out of commission before he can kill a bunch of people, because Wesley feels like anybody that dies from what this guy does, it's on him because it was his formulas.
Okay. Very cool.
Good stuff.
Good stuff indeed. Tell you what, let's go with Gary next.
All right, so Wesley Dodds, Sandman 1 through 6. Dan summed it up. The Riley Rossimo art. I will say this: his Rossimo's art on when he did Martian Manhunter series was even worse then. But
I think that was that the one where like they made him a corrupt cop on Mars. I didn't even bother with that.
It was just bad, super bad. The Rossimo art on the Sandman is toned down, and it's probably, I guess, as close as I can get to appreciating it. So it wasn't Rossimo's worst. you know, it's like we said, some of those covers are really good, and those Erasmo covers. The story was great, but yeah, the art is challenging. Starman 20 to 20.
That's a nice way to put it.
Yeah, there you go. The Starman 20 to 23 was part of that great James Robinson run that that I read a little bit of it, and where he meets up with Jack Knight's Ted Knight's son, and it's just a really, really great story, a really great fusion of the old and the new, and it's just wonderful. And Jack was really excited to meet his favorite author, Diane Belmont, which is a sweet little touch in there. So that was nice. All right. So what I have at the top is a book that has resonated for me for many, 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 many years. My first book was Justice League of America 111. So this is the third issue of the Justice League I ever bought, 113. It was still a 100-pager, and it was my very first JLA JSA crossover, which they would do once a year. Usually they would be multi-part stories, 2 or 3 part stories. This was one of the rare ones that was just one issue. And in this issue, there is a creature that seems like he's made of some kind of silicate or sand that breaks out, and he's broken out of Wesley Dodds's mansion. And what it is this creature can't communicate very well. It's in pain, and the heroes are fighting it at different venues around the old town there. And what it turns out to be is it's Sandy. It is Sandy Hawkins, his protege. And what had happened was years ago, and Sandy's costume was a little different. His was red and gold, where Sandman's was purple and gold. But Sandy was in an experiment going wrong when he was trying to create a ray. This was it the only one that was a single? That makes sense, Chris. And it was this experiment went wrong, and it turned Sandy into this raging monster. And Sandman realized the only thing he could do was he incapacitated it with some of his gas, and he put him in pretty much a velvet cage of it was a glass dome, but he had him sedated where this creature would not regain consciousness for many, would never regain consciousness. And he didn't let anybody know. He just sits on this. And so, the verbiage is, I couldn't face myself in the mirror. After that, my reflection in the gold and purple costume was too harsh a reminder of what I had done. I tore the outfit to ribbons, dug this old double-breasted suit out of mothballs, and for better or worse, the original Sandman lived again. And now the thing I've dreaded most in all these years has finally happened. Sandy is broken free of the velvet cage, and unless we recapture him quickly, any harm he causes will be my fault. So Sandman, this creature, this silicate creature is around town, these, at various sites. And what they found out in the end is that what has awakened Sandy has been a terrible fault line in the earth. And Sandy has awakened and realizes it, and he's using silicate from this body of his to repair the fault lines at 3 different locations throughout the city. And he has not been able to recover his vocal cords at this point, and so they don't realize it. And then when they meet up with him finally at the end, Sandy's able to speak, and they realize that he has been filling these fault lines up with parts of his own body. So they repair, they help him on the last fault line so it doesn't cause a massive earthquake. And when Sandman says to him, I tried to tell you at first, but that he was still there, because at first he was enraged, but it was the temporary side effect of this transformation. And then when he tried to tell him, his vocal cords wouldn't respond. And then Sandy says it was only, Sandman says to him, I had to do what I did, Sandy. You understand that, don't you? You'd become a menace, a raving lunatic. And he said that was only a temporary effect of the explosion. Wes, I regained my senses within hours, but that gas was so physically disabling, there was never any way for me to tell you. And Sandman says, what have I done? All these years, so many years of Sandy's life wasted because I jumped to conclusions, because I was too proud, too ashamed to admit what I had caused. Sandy, I beg you, please forgive me. And as Sandman walks away, head down, the Batman says, how do you restore a man's pride, his confidence? How do you restore a man's soul? So just a heartbreaking tragedy that his ward, his partner, he had kept him under glass, unconscious for years, and wasted years of his life and not told anybody. He's got this hidden guilt, this hidden regret. And this was written by Len Wein, and it was just a tragic little story. It was, Len Wein at his best. The other day we reviewed the Batman Hulk thing, which was pretty much Wein at his worst. But this was just poignant. And as Chris said, it was just heartbreaking to find out what happened to Sandy all those years later. And then what was really cool about this was Jeff Johns took that character of Sandy Hawkins, Sand, and made him into a really cool character in his JSA run. And Sand was just a fantastic addition to that team. So good for Johns to use that, to take that story from Justice League 113 and do something with that character who does regain his more human form. He's kind of like the Marvel Sandman in a way, where he's comprised of sand, but he's able to, keep a human countenance. So I know that was long-winded. Thanks for bearing with me, but that was just a JLA 113 heartbreaking little story about a hero making a terrible, terrible error of judgment.
It's covered already. Wesley Dodds, Sandman 126, obviously. Sandman Mystery Theater. I actually got through the 8, but the stories were pretty good on that one. I really liked the way it was written. Like Dan said, excellent story, horrible art. So it's definitely worth a read. I'm going to try and finish out all 70 issues, but I definitely got through 1 through 8, and I loved it. So,
and you can get almost all of them out of the dollar bin. Like the last issue was a pretty low print run, but the rest are dollar books.
Matter of fact, I just sold the whole run I had to Chris, and he's got the whole run of them now. So they're they're all high grade. The ones I had were all very, very high grade, except one.
Right. And really, there's lots of it that leans into his investigative, prowess, I should say. So it's definitely good. Adventure Comics number 40. I mean, what can you say about that? It's the the JSA creation, right? Introduction. No, I'm sorry. It's not the JLA creation. Well, what am I thinking?
It's the first Sandman story ever written.
Yeah, it's the first Sandman story ever written. Yep, that's what it is. That's what I was trying to go for. I like this because it's got that heavy pulp influence, which I love. And unlike Superman or Batman, Sandman has no superpowers, just gadgets. He's got wits. He's haunted by the dreams, and it's just really an overall really good read. So I would recommend that one from Adventure Comics number 40. Jamie, you are up next. Let me get your card. There you go.
All right. Well, we already talked about Sandman Mystery Theater to the full extent. My next one would be the Justice Society of America, the Golden Age. It's a mini-series, Elseworld stories. To me, it's basically a love letter to the DC Golden Age heroes. Wesley plays like a pivotal role in this, not just as a costume adventurer, but as the man haunted by nightmares. It's mature, emotional, and shows Sandman as the conscience of the team. So if you want a story that hits hard and makes you think, this is the one I would go with. And lastly, this is Sandman Wesley Dodds special from 2023. This one is fresh, but it might be one of my actual favorite issues that I've read of him. It's up there, but it's his morality, his nightmares, his scientific mind, and it drops him into a murder mystery that threatens to expose his secret identity. It's got modern storytelling, which is, my era. With respect to the character's history. If you've been sleeping, pun intended here, on Wesley Dodds, this is the book to wake up with.
Wow. I like the way you phrased that. That's so nice.
I don't remember that special. I'm going to have to reprise that to look it up.
Well, that's the mini series, right?
It was before. So they came out with the one shot for the Golden Age. And then that they had spin-offs for one issue, and then they started those 6 issues for like Jay Garrick and then Sandman, and then who else was it? Alan Scott.
Yeah, it was just those 3.
Yeah.
All right, folks, let's jump to our last segment of the night, which is Best Writer and Artist. Uncle Gary, who do you got?
All right, I'm going to go because the right choice is probably Matt Wagner and Steven Seagal, who did Sandman Mystery Theater. But because I did not read those, I just can't say those. So I'm just going to go with one of the co-creators and one of the greatest writers of the Golden Age, Gardner Fox. And then for artist, I'm going to go with the Flying Tiger, Bert Christman. And his art was influenced by Terry and the Pirates and some of the early pulp, the early strips. And when I read through this book he did about the first, I think he did from Adventure Comics 40 through 46, I think. I really liked his art in those stories. So I'm going to go with Bert Christman. And you know what? Man died as a flying tiger. That's all you need to know.
Okay. All right. Jamie, who do you got?
I have for my artist, I do got Guy Davis. I did like how it looked and his grittiness in it. I know a lot of people probably won't agree with it, but that's definitely one I always look towards. And for writer, I'm gonna go with Vendetti. I really like that 6th issue.
Vendetti is great.
Yep. All right, Dan, how about you?
For writer, I went with Matt Wagner for Sandman Mystery Theater. Seagal did work on it with him and did end the series as the sole writer, but Wagner started off the series as the sole writer, then Seagal joined him. And for artist, I went with Tony Harris for the issues of Starman that Dodds was in. But if I got to pick a creative team to do a book on them, I would pick Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips.
Yeah,
because I mean that's the crime noir is just their wheelhouse. Crime noir with like some supernatural stuff is their wheelhouse, and I think they could do an amazing job with him.
I agree with that.
I think so too. Yeah.
All right, for me, I actually went with Matt Wagner as well, for the same reasons Dan did, and I got to give props to Gary, man. I'm going to go with the Flying Tiger, the artist. I'm going to do that. So we're going with that. Good old Bert.
A real life hero.
Yep, very true. Very true. All right. Does anybody have any last final thoughts on our sleepy man tonight?
No.
Chris, you're writing. You're writing with you drawing your special way tonight.
Careful, because like the Sandman, the old song, Chris will give you a special treat, but you probably won't want it.
No.
Hey, Mr. Sandman, give me a dream.
Give me a dream. All right, folks. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We really appreciate you guys in the chat channel and helping make the comments go fun. It is always a pleasure. Guys, always a pleasure. You guys have good stories and good covers and all those badass moments. Good stuff. So, folks, we will see you next week for Comic Character Week, where we're going to cover John Stewart's. The last, yeah, yes, we are. Yes, we are. Right. And, of course, we'll always see you on Saturday night. Don't forget the Mon Comics fundraiser. Hit that up, donate a few dollars, or share it out to some social media that can help him as well. So, folks, take care, and we will see you guys next week.